Hello everybody, Andrew Field here. A lot of news to cover, so let's get started. In terms of Trump's Tulsa rally, we have TikTok teens and K-pop stans to thank because they said they sank Trump's rally by inflating the tickets as a prank, like saying they were gonna go but didn't show up. That's why he was bragging about the million people that were gonna attend. Um, in actuality, 6,200 people attended Trump's rally, but the arena's capacity is 19,200, and they were saying like 100,000 people were going to show up. Um, and I just want to say about the K-pop stands, I'm really appreciative of them also, in particular, because on Twitter all the time, like racists try to get a hashtag trending, and they always stop it. So that's great too. Um, so Trump looked really deflated after getting back to Washington, D.C. Um, an official said he was very upset with the Tulsa rally turnout. Two more people of the Trump campaign tested positive for coronavirus at the Tulsa rally, which means 8 Trump campaign members tested positive. So, if that's a summary of what probably will happen in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and the amount of people that will probably get it because of the rally, then there you go. That's an indicator for you. Excuse me. Trump said to reporters that America was doing too good of a job testing, which is not something a president should say. Um, there seemed to be a couple shootings that hopefully won't repeat. There was a person that was killed and 11 others were wounded in a Minneapolis shooting. One person died and one was in critical condition from a shooting in Seattle. And it was at a Capitol Hill protest zone. And 2 people died and 7 were wounded in Charlotte, North Carolina, with a shooting. 5 were hit with cars afterwards. Um, there was also an incident in Compton, California, where police deployed rubber bullets and pepper spray on protesters. Um, yeah, Trump held off Chinese sanctions over concentration camps, the Uyghur concentration camps, to try and work out a trade deal. And that's something that's really horrific because human rights have to come first, before your trade deal so you can boast about it to try to boost your re-election chances. You need to think of America first. Um, a UK poll found more African Americans said the UK government didn't do enough to handle racism than their white colleagues, and most black people in the UK believe that the governing Conservative Party is racist. John Bolton said of the 2020 election, it's the last guardrail to protect the U.S. from Trump. Bolton is not voting for Trump or Biden. He's writing in a conservative Republican, and I think it's really stupid because I applaud him for not voting for Trump, and that sends a big signal. I think that it's also a bad signal when you're saying you're not going to vote for Biden because we should really speak for unity, and Biden's definitely the better candidate. And I think that he's not doing any favors to anyone by writing in a conservative Republican because then he's still wasting his vote. Bolton did say, though, he hopes that Trump is a one-term president, and he said on Stephen Colbert's show, where Stephen Colbert did a really good job questioning him. He said that Republicans will face a reckoning whether Trump wins or loses. And Bolton did not testify during the impeachment, but instead made his book. His reasoning was that he said he didn't believe the information would mean much because the Democrats made the impeachment a partisan fight. And I don't believe that because I believe that the Republicans made it a partisan fight. If you remember with the House vote was very partisan, and it turned out to be that way, except for Mitt Romney in the Senate. And I think the Republicans were backing him, so I don't understand his viewpoint that the Democrats made it partisan. They were just doing their jobs. So I think he's just saying that as an excuse because he wanted to make money off the book. And it's a real shame he didn't want to testify. So I don't have that much respect for him because of that, but I have some respect for coming out with the book and releasing the information at least. Roger Stone, the prosecutor for Roger Stone said the Department of Justice leaders applied heavy pressure to cut him a break. Justice Department officials are testifying um, currently on the political influence in Barr's agency. NASCAR launched an investigation after noose was found in the only black driver Bubba Wallace's garage. The FBI concluded, though, its investigation of the noose that no crime was committed. The noose was there from October 2019, so that was good news. Trump made his niece sign a non-disclosure agreement, but his niece is still set to publish a tell-all book of Trump. I wanted to update you and give you the current numbers about the coronavirus because I don't think I've really done that in a while. Right now I know that it'll take a little bit to pull up, but right now I know that there's over 9 million cases in the U.S., and the U.S. Takes up a third of those cases. So it's a real shame, and you know, I know that Brazil is really climbing though, because Brazil has about half our death toll currently, but they're really rising in the amount of cases per day. And let's see, so yeah, 9.4 million cases worldwide, so that's increasing very high, a very high amount. Now the death toll is 481,000. 5 million people have recovered, so a little over half of the people, so that's good. The death rate worldwide is 9%, but it differs in different countries. The daily amount of cases in the world keeps increasing, which is not good, and it's because different parts of the world are increasing this a lot more. Like South America is increasing peaks right now, where a lot of countries, have done a really good job. Like Spain, Italy, France, Germany have all done a really good job, and the coronavirus cases have just gone down along with the death toll and everything like that. The UK seems to be doing a better job also, which is good news. So, as of yesterday, the U.S. reported 800 deaths. The death toll is below 1,000, but the case number is really bad. The cases were going down, but as we see these spikes in places like Florida, Arizona, the Carolinas, and a couple other states, the daily amount of cases has gone up to 30,000 a day, which it hasn't since May, and now it seems to be growing from there. China's faking their numbers still. China is currently, I don't even know where they're placed in the world. They're 21st in the amount of cases with 83,000 and 4,000 deaths. So China is definitely still fudging with the numbers. South Africa is seeing a bit of cases. They don't have that many deaths, but they have over 100,000 cases. Mexico is growing pretty good amount right now. Yesterday they reported 750 daily deaths. They're at 22,000 deaths, and I think they're growing pretty rapidly right now. They have 185,000 cases, and they're reporting about 5,000 cases a day, which is nowhere near ours, but it's still growing pretty good amount there. Let's see. Chile and Peru are 7th and 8th in the most amount of cases. Chile's got 250,000 cases. Peru's got 260,000 cases. They're reporting each about 4,000, 3,500 to 4,000 cases a day. By the way, this site is worldometers.info, and it tells you everything about the latest updates about coronavirus. I would highly recommend looking at this site. It's very reliable, and I think they source where they get their information from. And I don't think I can link it, but I would highly recommend you looking at the site. India is reporting a lot of cases and a lot of deaths. They're now 14,000 deaths, but it's going up a pretty good amount. They reported about 450 deaths yesterday. Excuse me, and they have 456,000 cases, making them fourth most. And let's see, that they reported 15,000 daily cases yesterday. Russia, I'm not sure about the death rate because they only reported 8,000 deaths so far, but the case numbers seem correct. They're third on the highest coronavirus cases with about 600,000 cases now. Brazil is increasing a lot more now, and the U.S. right now is at 2.4 million cases. 36,000 cases were reported yesterday. The death toll is now at 123,000. So that's just some information about it. Yeah, so let's see. Um, I'll get into the more state by state basis a little bit later within the United States. There was a study that found 1/3 of Medicare enrollees with coronavirus were hospitalized, and a quarter of those died. So that just shows how devastating coronavirus is. The European Union, this was huge. The European Union is blocking American travelers as it reopens, so all of Europe will be able to travel with each other. Um, and I don't think that includes the UK anymore because UK left the European Union, so they'll have to work something out. But Europe will be able to travel with each other, but America cannot travel to Europe, citing failure to control the virus. And I definitely agree with this, and I think it's a smart decision because they don't want their cases to go up from America. And it just shows how much President Trump failed and continues to. That the European Union, which we're a part of, is not allowing American travelers because of how much Trump failed with this virus and continues to. And he's actually doing a really bad job now. I don't know if it's worse than it was before, but it's up there. Coronavirus is still a big problem in states like Arizona and Florida, where they're reporting their highest hospitalization numbers, their highest daily cases, their highest deaths. It's a problem. I think their highest deaths will probably be coming later on. It's a little delayed. Trump spoke to thousands in Phoenix, Arizona, I think yesterday, to supporters that did not social distance. And Trump is extremely tone deaf right now because him and his administration is celebrating the end of coronavirus. And so first he went to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Now he went to Phoenix, Arizona, and I'm pretty sure his next stop is Florida. Like literally the worst places in the country right now with coronavirus. And he's having thousands of people come and not social distance. So it's literally the worst thing that could happen, especially since they're coming from other parts of the country as well. And then they'll go back and spread it there when they get back. Members of the coronavirus task force testified to Congress. New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut required travelers, they just did this today, required travelers from states with high coronavirus rates to quarantine for 2 weeks. That's a very smart thing to do because, those states, especially New York, had to struggle a lot with coronavirus, and their cases shouldn't have to go up because other states' governments are not doing that good of a job. Black Lives Matter protests spread out to white rural areas, even in cities like Coeur d'Alene, I'm sorry, it's a hard name to pronounce, Idaho, where 93% of the population is white, 0.5% black. The protests have brought out local militias carrying assault rifles. A militia leader said it's to protect from looters, and I hope it's not to scare protesters, although some protesters think that it is to scare, like a scare tactic. Some of the militia members came in from out of town. An NYPD cop was suspended after a video found he used a chokehold on a black man. 4 portraits of former House speakers who served in the Confederacy were removed from the Capitol. Anti-racism protesters tried to pull down a statue of Andrew Jackson, the 7th President of the United States, before police intervened. Jackson was racist toward Native Americans. And I just wanted to ask your guys' opinion. What do you think of the recent pulling of the statues? Do you think that it's right? Do you think that's wrong? Let me know in the comments below. Trump said that anyone who destroys monuments could face 10 years in prison. He plans to sign an executive order, and it doesn't seem to be justified because the people seem to have good intentions and they're targeting people that were racist. I think that we need to learn about their history and learn about what's going on, but I can understand, I guess, how people don't want to see people like that were very racist in their intentions. Sorry about that. So I kind of understand, but I think it's kind of like a fine line because I saw that they removed the statue from like a museum And I don't think that's right, because we still need to learn the history of these people so that history will not repeat itself, I think. Military helicopters descended on DC protesters as a show of force, produced winds equivalent to a tropical storm. That's not right. California's Ventura County Sheriff and DA's office staff were arrested. They vandalized a Black Lives Matter sign, and it was caught in video. A 7.5 earthquake hit southern Mexico. Trump signed an order freezing visas for foreign workers throughout the end of the year. So while everyone's distracted with the Black Lives Matter protests and coronavirus and his stupid rallies, he's doing stuff like this, which I don't really think is right, because if you're saying to protect from coronavirus, which he's not, you know, like people coming from Mexico and every other countries like that, America is where the most of the risk is. So people coming in from other countries isn't that big of a problem right now. Republican Senator Tim Scott gave GOP colleagues a sense of the racism he faces. He played derogatory voicemails him and his staff received at a closed-door lunch to try to get them to understand the racism going on. Primaries occurred in several states. I'm not sure of the results yet. They probably will come in shortly. Streaming service Mixer announced Facebook gaming partnership amid allegations of racism. I appreciate ESPN talking about racism and voting, especially now that there's no major sports going on right now. It's a perfect opportunity, especially when athletes are getting involved. They didn't have to, but I appreciate that they do. LeBron James and Maverick Carter started an organization called More Than a Vote. It is focused on increasing voter turnout and combating voter suppression, and was created in the wake of the protests. Um, calls for social justice. Patrick Mahomes and other athletes have joined, and I think that's a great cause, and it shows what people of power and influence can do with their influence in a good, positive way. So that's the video. I hope you guys appreciated it. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I will talk to you on the next video. Peace out, everybody. Stay safe.